Hi, sailors. Welcome to another edition of Start Sailing Now Extra. We're here with Jason, who's profiled in our June 2022 edition of SpinSheet magazine. Welcome, Jason.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you today?
I am well, and I'm so glad you agreed to share a little bit of your story. As you know, we're really interested in finding out how people get into sailing and encouraging others to do it when they're adults. I know you had kind of an inauspicious beginning.
Mhm.
Tell us kind of how you got into sailing, and then what you think about taking sailing classes as a way to get started.
Sure, yeah. So I started I had a rather unique intro into sailing. As an adult, I decided wanted to get into sailing, and I had a friend who knew of a friend who was starting a sailing school up in Barnegat Bay. He was looking for someone to build him a website, and I build websites. So I gave him a call, and we did a little trade, and I built him a website, and I went up to my first lesson. At the time, I it was rather windy. At the time, I had no sense of how windy it was, but you could definitely you stand right there and you could see the white caps. Probably not the best conditions to do a first lesson. Long story short, we got he went through the systems. We spent an hour talking going through the terms and theoretically how to operate the sailboat. And then we went onto the water after about an hour or so, and within about 15 minutes of being on the water in the bay, in the middle of the bay, we were hit with a gust of wind and we had capsized. Um, we both had life vests on, which is important.
Good, yeah, good lesson.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate that that was my first lesson. It was his boat, and his mast ended up getting stuck in the mud, and it broke its mast, and it was
Oh,
really a shame. And eventually, someone came and rescued us. The whole thing was just quite an adventure, I guess you could say.
yeah. Well, I'm surprised are you a glutton for punishment, or like I'm surprised you ever came back to sailing. So how did that happen?
I spent a couple weeks licking my wounds, and then realized I wasn't going to let this deter me, and decided to register with an official ASA 101 class on the Delaware River here in Philadelphia. And that was a lot more measured and safe and helpful. The value I got out of those classes were, I mean, they were invaluable to me, I think. Um, and I would recommend anybody looking to get into sailing to first take an ASA 101 class, um, if you haven't already. Even if
Mhm.
you have been on someone else's boat, and spent time with your friends who might have a boat, or family member who might have a boat, uh, the just the basic fundamentals about sailing and safety,
Mhm.
that you learn from these classes, I think, are just crucial to not only keeping you safe, but when you have your own boat, keeping your crew safe as well.
Yeah, I agree. I sailed for years before I took an ASA 101 class, and even with years of sailing under my belt, there were just little things that I thought, "Oh, that's a good way to do that," you know?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And then not too long after that, I had a family friend who approached me, who owns a marina up in Essex, New York. He said, "Hey, I have this old McGregor 22. Would you like to
Mhm.
have it?" And I said, "Of course, absolutely." And so, uh, it was a free boat. Now,
Yeah.
at the time, you think, "Wow, amazing free boat." It did need a little bit of work, so no free boat is ever really free.
Yeah, good thing to know if someone offers you a free boat. Doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Won't be free.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's how I got started into really, understanding the systems
Mhm.
of the sailboat, and how to repair them, how to maintain them. A lot of it was just learning by doing, talking to people, talking to friends, and the internet really is, probably 90% of what I learned initially was from the internet and YouTube.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
currently we had the McGregor, and then we traded that up to a Catalina 25 from the 80s, and
Okay.
then we fixed that up, and then we traded that up. Now, my wife and I have a Tartan 33,
Okay.
that we acquired, and we put very little money into the actual purchasing of these boats. I got the first one through a trade. We fixed it up, we sold it, and that was enough for us to get the Catalina. And
Mhm.
then the same thing happened with the Tartan.
if I may ask, how do you and your wife divide up the work?
Sure, we do it together, and I would say I do more of the mechanical work, just
Mhm,
because of I'm a mechanical minded person.
mhm.
That's not to say she doesn't do that. There'll be times where she'll come and join me and help me, and I'll show her how to do something, or maybe she's working on something. She discovers a little trick or something that that is helpful for both of us, and she'll teach me that as well, which is great. Um, we Part of the project that we had to do, well, we replaced the entire plumbing, the electrical on this one boat that we have now, the Tartan,
Mhm.
and we also reupholstered all of the cushions.
Wow.
Um, and so that was a big project, and she spearheaded that entire project, and she did an amazing job. I mean, the cushions look incredible.
Yeah.
So that's just one example.
What other advice do you have? Anything that you know, wanna pass along to someone that's interested in getting into sailing?
I would say that first and foremost, patience is key if you go the route of maintaining your own boat. Patience and uh, the openness to learn. I think that's really important. And being able to know how to use Google, I think is obviously everybody knows how to do that. But
Yeah.
if you can find the forums online for your particular sailboat,
Mhm.
for example, one really useful and helpful person was this gentleman by the name of Tim Rivard, who owns the Tartan 33 Facebook page, and he was an absolute invaluable resource when it came to us refitting our boat. I mean, he had done it painstakingly by himself, with his boat, and he
Mhm.
documented the entire process. So he had all of this knowledge, and he was just very forthcoming with the knowledge and very helpful. And this was just a person I met on the internet who was really helpful, and it's just, to me, it's representative of sailors just across the world. I just find that most sailors that you meet are just such warm, kind people, and they're always willing to help you. So, um, in addition to having patience, don't be afraid to ask for help from others.
Yeah, that's a great point, and you're right, I think there's a Facebook group for almost every make and model of boat out there,
Yep.
whether it's power or sail, and you can find someone with essentially the identical boat to you, and then when you get a group of people, my experience is somebody's already done the project you're about to embark on, and like you
Yeah,
said, they just
absolutely.
are happy to share.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about it. It's I don't know if that, if you look at other industries or other, other communities, you'll find people that are so open and welcoming to sharing their knowledge.
Yeah, and I bet you find that in your club too. Like there's probably such a diverse group in your club, but the sailing brings you all together. I know that's what other people have told me that I met people I would have never met and really enjoyed knowing them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would
Yeah.
agree 100%.
Yeah. All right, anything else? What else are we missing?
Um I think that's it.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
How was that?
That was great. So I'm going to go ahead and close up and turn off the record and then we can chat just a little bit
Okay.
more. Well, Jason, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your advice for new sailors and hope to see you out on the water.
Likewise.